There was a spate of retaliatory Quran burning earlier this year in honour of Salwan Momika, who was killed by Muslims in Sweden in retribution for his frequent telling the world what he thought about their so-called religion. One such was Martin Frost in Manchester in February. Initially not the most adept attempt. It's quite hard to set fire to a block of 100 pages with a cigarette lighter, but the extraction of a single page solved the problem. You might notice the presence of a wretched creature in the background. This was one Farhad Iqbal, who tried, unsuccessfully, to get in the way. But he was successful in getting Martin Frost reported to the police. I was quite shocked, disgusted and offended. I'm a Muslim. I still can't believe someone would do this. When he began to burn the Quran, my heart was about to break out. This is the most emotion I have ever felt. And Martin Frost was summarily carted off. It's not clear whether the constabulary they sent in to do this was a coincidence, or designed to send a clear message about who, at least the police, consider to be in charge now. And the miscreant whose heart was about to break figures in what is now the charge against him. He is accused of committing a racially aggravated public order offence with intent to cause Farhad Iqbal harassment, alarm or distress by using threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour. This is an odd charge. The offence, such as it was obviously religiously, not racially aggravated, clue the Quran. And since he didn't know Farhad Iqbal until Farhad Iqbal showed up and started bothering him well after he'd started, I don't know how he could have had intent to cause Farhad Iqbal distress, or for that matter how intent could be inferred, short of mind reading. And then the charge desperation was ranked up a lot further 2 weeks later when Hamit Coscun decided to burn a Quran outside the Turkish consulate. He was a lot more successful, and he managed to reduce the whole thing to satisfactory ash before a demented Muslim, name of one Musa Kadri, came out of the consulate itself and started attacking him with a knife, and a passing delivery rider started kicking him. The video is not suitable for YouTube, but you can see it on my Twitter. Feel free to watch and like and share and all that good stuff. The link is in the description, and he was charged accordingly. This email is courtesy of a request from Robert Generick. Racially, religiously aggravated intentional harassment, alarm, distress. Words or writing contrary to Section 31b and 4 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998. Particulars: on 13th of February 2025 at City of Westminster in the Borough of Westminster with intent to cause against the religious institution of Islam harassment, alarm or distress, displayed some writing, sign or other visible representation which was threatening, abusive or insulting, thereby causing that or another person harassment, alarm or distress, and the offence was religiously aggravated within the terms of Section 28 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998. This charge was subsequently replaced by another charge after Robert Generick's letter to the Chief Inspector, but it was made, and if there hadn't been a high-profile intervention from a Member of Parliament, Hamit Coscun would have been facing a charge of harassment against Islam. Which person did the charge relate to? He intended to cause distress against Islam, and he caused distress for that person, and that person is not mentioned. Read it again. Which person is that person? Very interesting. What you're looking at there is a template where the aggrieved individual has his name inserted. This is the filled in template, and blank it looks like that with the aggrieved party absent. Normally it would be filled in something like that: with intent to cause against Mohammed Farouk al-Baghdadi bin Saladin harassment, alarm, etc., thereby causing that person being that person, harassment, alarm, yada yada yada. So they inserted the Religious Institute of Islam as the offended party, but the charge isn't worded for a thing. It's worded for a person because the law applies to a person. So it goes on to read, totally incomprehensibly, intent to cause against the Religious Institute of Islam harassment, etc., thereby causing that or another person harassment. But Islam is not a person, so the charge is totally garbled. And of course he couldn't intend to cause distress against Islam, or actually do so for that matter, for the same reason. Islam is an idea. Any more than Martin Frost could have intended to cause distress against Farhad Iqbal, because Farhad Iqbal was totally unknown to him at the time. So without blasphemy laws to rely on, What blasphemy is, bear in mind, is the illegalization of the criticism of idiot ideas that fall apart the moment they're criticized. So to maintain the idea, the criticism has to be made illegal. They made a cack-handed, moronic attempt to squeeze something into a charge which had no room for it because it was never intended for it. And just to clarify that the aggrieved party is always a person and not a thing. This is the 1998 Act, racially or religiously aggravated public order offences. A person is guilty of an offence under this section if he commits b. an offence under section 4a of that Act, which is the Public Order Act 1986, intentional harassment, alarm or distress, which is racially or religiously aggravated for the purpose of this section. So now we fast backwards to the 1986 Act, intentional harassment, alarm or distress. A person is guilty of an offence if, with the intent to cause a person harassment, alarm or distress, he uses threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour, thereby causing that or another person harassment, alarm or distress. And that was the wording in the charge. What they were trying to do was to allow the 1986 Act to operate as blasphemy law, i.e. to extend its scope to the illegalisation of the criticism or the burning of idiot ideas, which it doesn't do. And who is they? This is they, for one thing, the Muslim cops operating in positions of power within the police. And this is also they.
Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Muslim MP Tariq Ali calling for blasphemy laws from his elected position in the House of Commons when he's not calling for airports in Pakistan. This charge against Hamit Coscun was withdrawn because it was exposed at a high level and shown to be totally incoherent in relation to the supposedly underpinning legislation, because Islam is an idea, not a person, and the legislation does not accommodate non-persons. And their attempt to cack-handedly squeeze a non-person as the aggrieved party into a charge designed for persons is hilariously illiterate. But it's good that they did in one sense, because it shows their hand, it shows the desire for Islamic blasphemy laws on the part of people like these two jackbooted cops, for one thing, or the likes of Tariq Ali for that matter, even if it was a step too far this time. Blasphemy laws being the illegalisation of the criticism of idiot ideas which fall apart upon criticism, so to maintain them, the criticism has to be illegal, which exist only in backward cultures, Islamic or otherwise.